Cattle raising is a smart business choice for many small-scale farmers. It provides an additional source of income through the sale of fresh milk or animals for meat. But fresh milk spoils quickly. Milk that is not stored at low temperatures can become sour. To avoid this, many farmers sell their milk to middlemen, often at low prices. To make sure that the milk does not spoil and to make more profit, some farming families turn their milk into cheese. Cheese is a desired product on the market and comes in many shapes and forms. It is tasty and has nutritional benefits because it is a healthy source of fats, minerals, and calcium.
Cheese is the basis of our diet. We always rely on eating cheese and offer it to our guests when they come to our home. We eat cheese for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We make our own fresh cheese and always have it in our home.
A soft fresh cheese can be made and ready for consumption in less than 1 hour. And it is easily made with some basic kitchen equipment, as we will learn from rural women from the village of Sa'ara in Egypt. The key ingredient to making cheese is rennet. This triggers the fats in the milk to bind together as curds and the rest of the liquid to run off as whey. You can buy ready-made commercial rennet in liquid or powdered form from your local agricultural or dairy shops. In Egypt, rural women prefer to use natural rennet made from the cheese curds found in a calf's stomach. The calf produces enzymes to help them digest their mother's milk. If you have no access to rennet, lemon juice or vinegar will also cause the milk to curdle when heated. But the cheese will have less flavor. Once you have your rennet, you are ready to source the milk to start the cheese-making process. Any milk can be used for making cheese, such as cow, buffalo, sheep, or goat. Milk from different animals has different flavors and fat content.
الفرق الجاموسي هو اللي طبعا بتبقى الجبنه بتاعته بتبقى دسمه شويه عن الباقي.
The difference is that cheese made with water buffalo milk is creamier. Cow's milk is less creamy, and you get more whey when you make the cheese. Buffalo milk doesn't release as much water and tastes better.
الجاموسي بقى بتعمل الله اكبر كميه كبيره، متبقاش فيها ميه كتيره زي الباقي.
If you are not sure how fatty your milk is, there is a quick test you can do by keeping the milk in the fridge overnight. A fatty milk will produce a thick layer of separated cream.
بجيب لبن يكون مصدره كويس ومضمون يا من عندي لا اما لو جبته من
I get milk from a trusted source, from my own cows. Sometimes I buy milk if I'm sure it's clean and free of microbes, because the microbes stop the milk from curdling.
بيقطع.
Hygiene is very important when making cheese. Make sure the milking practice is hygienic and that your workplace and equipment is cleaned well before you start. You can make cheese from raw milk if you are absolutely sure of its source. Pasteurization ensures the milk is clean, but it can also kill many nutritional properties of the raw milk, such as vitamins and probiotics. Infected milk, or milk from a cow taking vaccines or medication, is not suitable for making cheese or for human consumption. Carry the fresh milk in a clean container to your cheese production area. The further you travel, the more insulation you need to make sure the milk stays fresh. Start by straining your milk to get rid of any dirt or hair from the milking. If you are going to pasteurize your milk, heat it to 70 degrees Celsius. It is preferable to use a thermometer. But if you do not have one, 70 degrees is just before the milk starts to simmer. Once the milk is pasteurized, remove it from the heat and bring it down quickly to 30 degrees, the ideal temperature for activating the rennet enzymes that trigger the milk fat to curdle. Stirring the milk will help reduce the temperature. Some women transfer it into another pot to also help reduce the temperature quickly. At 30 degrees, the liquid feels like hot tea. You should be able to bear the heat if you touch the milk or the pot.
If you're making yogurt, you can let the milk boil. But when making cheese, if you let the milk boil, the rennet will usually not curdle. And if it does curdle, it won't make the right quantity of cheese.
Stir the rennet into the warm milk. Use on average 1 tablespoon of natural rennet for 1 liter of milk. For bought-in rennet, use the amount described in the instructions on the label. Cover the pot with a cloth to retain the heat if the weather is cool. After 15 to 30 minutes, the curd should be ready to be made into cheese. The milk has a thick consistency, and you can also start to see the whey liquid forming. Room temperature and the age of the rennet can affect how fast the curds are formed. You can always add more rennet if the process is slow. Now you are ready to prepare for the second stage of cheese making, draining the whey and compressing the curds to shape the cheese. In Egypt, women use a traditional reed mat to drain the cheese. The mat must be really clean, but do not use soap as this will affect the taste of the cheese. Place the clean mat over a container that will collect the whey and pour the curding cheese across it. Leave it to drain for about 30 minutes. You can speed up the draining process by adding some salt. The salt pulls more whey out of the curds. By tightening the rolled mat, the curds are shaped into a log-like structure. Once the cheese has reached your desired consistency, unroll the mat and slice the cheese into chunks ready for sale or storage. The same cheese curds can be drained using a cheese mold to pack the curds. You can even use a thin material to shape the curds into a round shape as they drain. There are various ways to store fresh cheese, each with a different impact on its taste and texture over time. If you will consume the cheese within 1 week, make a brine solution by adding 1 teaspoon of salt to 4 cups of water. Salt helps conserve the cheese for longer because it acts like a natural preservative. You can also store the cheese in its own way if it is salted. Whey is not waste. It still contains high protein level. You can drink it directly or use it in cooking or feed it to your animals. To preserve the soft cheese longer than 1 week, cover the cheese pieces in salt and chili pepper. The salt will make more whey drain out and result in a harder white cheese that you can store for longer. Always store your fresh cheese in a clean, airtight container at a cool temperature, and preferably in a fridge in hot summer months. Now that you have learned the various types of cheese you can make from fresh milk, let us review the steps to making fresh cheese at home. Secure a source of quality, clean milk that is very fresh, and preferably with a high fat content. Buy or make your own rennet. Pasteurize the milk. Cool the milk to 30 degrees. Add the rennet. Leave for 15 to 30 minutes. Drain the curds and then mold them into cheese. Store the cheese in brine, salted whey, or salt and chili pepper, depending on how long you will store it.
اشجع الناس كلها تاكل من ايديها عشان عارفه هي بتعمل ايه وعارفه الحاجه.
I encourage all people to make food they eat themselves so that they know the source of their food. Pre-made cheese can have powdered milk added to it, as well as preservatives or other additives. You don't know the source of the milk or its nutritional content. It's just information from a label. But if you make the cheese yourself, you know the ingredients of the cheese and the salt content, and it's in your hands. You can adjust according to your needs.
ممكن تزودي دي حاجه في ايدك انت تعمليها.
Whether you start cheese making as a hobby or a new business, it all starts with quality milk, good hygiene, and the confidence to experiment to get the best results. This can lead to a profitable venture and even a new family tradition.